George, I'm so excited. Mrs. Randolph is coming over to see if I qualify for her literary club.
She is.
Help me scatter these books around. I want the house to look very cultural when she gets here.
Okay. Where did these go?
Oh, now put that book on philosophy there on the table, and the ethics book on the top of the piano, and this volume on geopolitics here.
Well, Mrs. Randolph may not go for some of this stuff. It's kind of heavy reading.
That's all right. So is some of Mrs. Randolph.
Oh, I see.
This whole set of Dickens goes on the table, too. Oh, look! There's Mrs. Randolph driving up. Quick, George, out the back. I don't want you confusing her with your cowboy talk. You'd say, put him there, old critter. And the old critter wouldn't know where to put what.
Okay, I'll go down to the drugstore.
Hello, Mrs. Burns. I'm afraid I'm a wee bit late for our appointment. Oh, really? I hadn't noticed. Time passes so quickly when one has one's books.
How true. I'd wager you've had your nose in a book all day.
Oh, yes. I only took it out once or twice to cover it.
Yes. What joy is to be found in literature. Shakespeare's classic romances, Romeo and Juliet, Othello and Desdemona.
Yes, and that other sweet couple, Mac and Beth.
Mrs. Burns, one does not simply separate Mac and Beth.
I wouldn't think of it. They're crazy about each other.
You say such amusing things.
I do?
Oh, I see you have some French literature. Isn't this book Les Miserables?
Oh no, I thought it was pretty good.
Les Miserables is the title. Of course, there are so many splendid writers, but of them all, my favorite is the inspired French-Scotch poet who wrote To a Field Mouse.
He wrote To a Field Mouse. I hope he wasn't silly enough to expect an answer.
My dear, surely even in jest you would not know so little of the works of Robert Burns.
Who?
The incomparable Robert Burns.
Oh, him.
Well, really, my dear, I can hardly consider you for membership in my literary club if you are so unfamiliar with the immortal Robert Burns.
Well, you see, Mrs. Randolph, I pretend not to know about Robert Burns because one doesn't boast about one's own family.
You mean?
My husband is George Burns, the great-grandson of Robert Burns.
No!
Yes.
Robert Burns, the Scotch poet?
Aye.
Well, I had no idea your husband was Scotch.
Really, you should go out with him sometime. He's cheap.
Well, this is most thrilling, Mrs. Burns.
Now can I join your club, Mrs. Randolph?
I should be delighted to welcome you to my fold. Please tell me all about your husband. When did you meet him?
Oh, in Scotland. I should never forget it. It was spring on Robert Burns' estate. The thistles were in bloom. Suddenly I saw him walking down the path toward me, dressed in kilts and smoking a bagpipe.
Aren't you a little confused?
Oh, probably. I was so excited when he spoke to me. He said, "Wee lassie, isn't it a broad brick moonlight nick-nick?"
Oh, and what did you say?
I said, yes, it's certainly ick.
A perfectly adorable. Then what happened?
Oh, then we got to talking. One thing led to another, and finally he invited me to his boron for a cup of heather. His family insisted that I stay for the weekend.
And of course, you followed the old Scottish custom and went grouse shooting?
Oh, of course, I shot 11 grouse.
What a charming romance. A divine story.
Well, I hope you liked it.
I can't wait to see your husband in a kilt.
Yes, he's perfect. He has perfectly gorgeous knees. They've got the cutest little dimples.
Oh my.
Oh, excuse me. I need to grab the phone in the kitchen.
Isabel, this is your lucky day. Just wait until the girls hear you've been in the home of Robert Burns, the great poet. Maybe I'll even see him in a kilt. Extraordinary.
Oh, hello. You're Mrs. Burns, aren't you?
Mrs. Randolph. You see, I'm the president of the literary club your wife is interested in. I have quite a large fold.
So I see. You should exercise.
Well, I never.
Well, you should.
I think you've misunderstood me. The truth is, I'm so disappointed you've got pants on.
You are?
Oh yes, I suppose you wear them because you do not want to be ostentatious.
Yeah. And I don't want to get arrested either.
But here, in the privacy of your own home, couldn't you discard them? Oh, I'd so love to see you in your plaids.
Oh, they're in the laundry. I'm wearing the ones with polka dots today.
Polka dots? For a descendant of Robert Burns? Shocking.
Of who?
Didn't your great-grandfather write, "Coming through the rye"?
He couldn't even write when he was sober.
Well, hello, George. I kin u our room. Him,
Okay.
Never mind, Mrs. Burns. It's quite obvious your husband's great-grandfather was not Robert Burns the poet.
Of course not. He was Max Burns, the fish peddler. Now hand me my cowboy love tales.
Cowboy love tales? Mrs. Burns, does your husband read that childish drivel?
I have to confess, Mrs. Randolph, he does, and I'm so ashamed of him.
It must be unutterable trash.
Oh, it is. I don't know how a grown person could read it. Now just listen to this. Oklahoma Tex backed slowly towards the edge of the cliff. Hank aimed his rifle at Tex's heart. Surely this time Tex was doomed. You see, Mrs. Randolph?
Well, don't stop there. What happened?
Well, I'd like to know myself.
Girls, give me my magazine.
Oklahoma Tex glanced to the right. A den of hissing rattlesnakes barred his escape. He glanced to the left. 10,000 savage Indians stood between him and safety.
Girls, I want my magazine.
Oh, go read Shakespeare.